on this just ugly. And I can't even tell you it's going to be nice this weekend because I can't. I noticed that looking at next week, if you want the advanced forecast, next week I do see the sun as early as Monday. Nothing Saturday. Maybe get away from no rain Sunday. Maybe get some golfing. Maybe. Monday, partly sunny, and then it looks like a good stretch. But remember, they'll always put sun in for the Memorial Day weekend because they want you to go where you're supposed to go and not cancel your reservations. So even if they'll always put sun in there somewhere in the advanced thing. As far as the Twitter account, yes, I did tweet. I went over to the Twitter office. What a beautiful place. Man, I didn't even know they had an office in the city. So they asked me so I said I was going to activate a personal account and finally, tweet. So they called me up and asked me to go to their offices and do it from there. Send the first tweet from the Twitter offices. So I went to the Twitter office in the city, which is a unbelievable building. I mean, really is. I was incredibly impressed by the people, by the building, the whole thing. Really just, incredibly modern, just, what you would expect from a tech company, just really wonderful stuff. People were great. So we went on down there and they gave me like they had to explain to me what everything was because some of the stuff I didn't know what it was. Like I didn't know what a GIF was. Okay, maybe you folks do. I didn't know what one was. They had to show me. They even showed you. They took me to a place where they make them in the building, so they had me make one. So they showed me that they have a place where they actually produce them in the building. And all their different terms and all their different stuff. So they took me through all that, and then I did send out just one to get things rolling. So I am on there now. I don't know how much I'm going to use it, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to comment on it, but I don't know. Like sometimes it might be a lot, sometimes it might be a little. It depends on the day. So we'll see how it works out. But I did get the ball rolling. I did one, but I won't do any during I'm not going to do it during the show. That I will not do. As I will not be doing it during the show. It's for when I'm not on the air. It's not for during the show. Dave in Rockville Center starts us off. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Good. What's happening?
Mike, I'm absolutely livid at Mark Teixeira. I'm one of the last people to sympathize with any PED use and that kind of thing. But when you have a camaraderie, when you're a teammate of somebody,
right.
I just think it's in poor taste when somebody's on the canvas. All he had to do was say, "This is a very unfortunate situation."
That's all he had to say.
It's disappointing. And
I happen to agree with you. I happen to agree with you. There was nothing to be gained.
No,
there was nothing to be gained. And the Yankees, listen, if you listen to their comments, even Cash, they were kind of, hinting, not even hinting, that maybe there was some issues with him in the past. And let's be honest, the Yankees have had, for the Yankees, they should just be quiet because they've sure had enough guys who have been, so the Yankees can't act like they're, horrified because they've gone after guys who were clearly had steroids in their past. We all know that.
Yeah, you make a great point.
They've had a million guys who have done it. We know that. They've had a lot of stars and they've had a lot of guys who have been involved in that stuff, but just say nothing. Why do you have to jump on the guy? Listen, you don't know. If you knew something, you should have spoken. If you said it at the time, if you saw him doing it or you said it at the time and you made a statement, I'd be okay with that because then you'd be doing something that you felt strongly about. To do it years later and to do it after you're retired and out of the game, it's just wrong. It really is. I agree with you. I think it's wrong. I really do. So I agree. He shouldn't have done it. And there's just something to be gained from it. I mean, so what? You had suspicions. Everybody had suspicions now. Okay, fine. Well, your suspicions were true. They've had plenty of suspicions about other guys, too, who they haven't talked about. Plenty of guys. See, here's the one problem with steroids. Everybody's very selective. Some guys are protected, and some guys are outed. Now, the guys who get caught on a test, that's tough luck. You get caught on a test, now you're out. But there are guys who people think do it, who they don't talk about, and there's other guys who people don't like, who they do talk about. So it's like almost like there's, it depends on which side of the street you're on. Tony in Manhattan. What's up, Tony?
Mike, it's great to have you back.
Thank you. What's happening?
I wanted to make a Yankee Met comment, and then if I have time, ask you something regarding the gambling. You had just said earlier that George would never do anything to hurt Fred Wilpon or the Mets, but I thought George hated the Mets.
No,
Mike.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm telling you something. I've been in. I know for a fact. I actually have heard him make that comment. He did not like them stealing publicity. He wanted to beat them on the field badly, okay? But he liked Fred. He liked Fred a lot, and he would never do anything to hurt Fred.
Okay, that's news. I knew the publicity, especially
no,
when
listen,
they were winning
if you were a Yankee player and you lost to the Mets, he'd banish you.
Fair enough.
As he did, as he did on numerous occasions. He didn't want to lose to the three teams. He didn't want to lose to were the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, or Tampa Bay. He didn't want to lose to those three teams. But he was highly competitive. He wanted to beat him. He wanted to beat him on the back page. He wanted to beat him on the field. But he liked Fred.
Interesting. Now, regarding the gambling, you had a lot of callers, Mike, calling you ever since the news broke, and I agreed with your take. And they were acting as if now gambling becoming legalized, at least in Jersey, would mean it was the first time where anybody could actually make a bet. But as you
Which
said,
is ridiculous.
Exactly. As you said, and as we know, if you wanted to make a bet the last however many years, you're going to figure out a way to make that bet. Now, for most of the guys, I think the convenience of these websites, the fact that you can watch the game and make the bet from your computer or your smartphone is the reason they do it. Obviously, making the deposits is easy. Sometimes getting the withdrawals might be difficult. But do you see, once it becomes legalized within the states, do you see an uptick in the actual physical books where you have to go and physically make the bet, or do you think it'll be monetized as far as the internet?
It will be on the phone. The whole thing is going to be on the phone. Here's where this is going to change everything. This changes everything. And I'll tell you right now, the people who own teams think that they hit the lottery. I'm telling you, because I've already heard from a couple of them. They think they hit the lottery. And a lot of smart businessmen think they've hit the lottery, that their franchises are going to go up, up, and up in value.
Well, Mike, right? I know you're not a soccer guy, but do you see the way they do things in England? Where
right.
That's where we're headed.
I think we are, but it's going to be a little slow because we are not nearly as progressive in a lot of ways as Europe is. We just aren't. Look at it. Their social mores, the way they do things and the way we do things are very different. You know that. And dealing in gambling, dealing in culture, dealing in things involving sex. I mean, everything is very different than it is here. Okay, yeah. So it's going to take a while. But here's what you're looking at. When you reach a point where it is as common as going to the store or going to the supermarket for people to make a dollar wager on their team or on a game, or when they go to the game, sit there and make wagers during the game, okay? Then the amount of money, when the dollar player is in, that's when you get rich. The guy who gets rich is the guy who takes half a cent off everybody, not the guy who takes a lot of money off one person. The guy who takes half a cent off everybody is the guy who gets rich. And that's where they're headed. And if you ever get to a point where you could sit at your game and you can actually hook into a thing you could sit at a part of the stadium where you're actually hooked into a thing in your seat where you can actually wager at your seat. Bing, 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 put a credit card in and make wagers while you're sitting there. That will eventually happen.
They do it in Europe.
And when you do that, you're talking about the amounts of money that are going to be registered will be astronomical. Because that's even a different kind of wager than deals with the neighborhood bookie. See, the guy who deals with the neighborhood bookie might bet his football on Friday and on Sunday and bet something else on Friday and might make a couple of bets a year and he might, bet the Yankees during the playoffs or, and then you got some people, but they're very rare who wager every day, but that's a very small amount of the population. That's a very small who are out there wagering every day of the year on every sport. That's a very small amount of the population. But there are guys who make their NFL bets, wager on their World Series. But now when you make it very easy for everybody to be involved, you've changed everything completely. Sal in Lakewood, New Jersey. What's up, Sal?
Hi, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, what's happening?
Two questions on the Yankees. First of all, we know that the Yankees are going to try to go out and get a starting pitcher at the deadline or something like that.
Yes.
And a lot of people are talking about Andujar going over in the deal. Do you think Drury has a lot of trade value, or since his whole migraines issue, he doesn't have too much trade value?
I think it's hard to trade anybody who's having an off year. So I think, I was always waiting for him to get to the headline Judge and Jury, but we didn't get there. So, but
we actually got it once in the Toronto.
Oh, you did? I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: they could trade Andujar. I don't think it's an automatic that Andujar has to be here long term. I don't think it's automatic. I think there's no way Torres goes anywhere. I think he's untouchable. But I think they'll have to make a decision between those two players. And whichever way they decide to go, whichever one, either one could wind up in a deal for something. So I agree with you, but he's got to get back and play before he's going to have value. But they have to make a decision between those two players. I think that's true. The only guy of those youngsters that I would say is absolutely untouchable is Torres. To me, he should be an untouchable. I think he's going to be that good a player. Bruce in Huntington. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Mike, I got a question about the Knicks. I want to get your take on it. I've been a fan since the Willis Reed days.
Okay.
And I think the Knicks have become an unathletic team. I mean, I see teams every year, the last few years, just running past them. I mean, they can't keep up with guys.
They have bad players. I mean, they just have bad players. Yeah.
Right. So I read an article in Newsday yesterday. They're talking about this kid Bridges from Michigan State, that he's a very athletic player, the kind of guy they need to start going to. Fizdale likes him. Then they mentioned another Bridges guy, Mikal Bridges, who I don't know anything about. And I really like this guy Porter, this guard who got injured. What's your take on all that?
Listen, you're talking about 9, where they pick. It's going to be, you got to have 3 or 4 players that you're looking at. We'll go through it all when we get closer to the draft. You got to include all the players that are available, including the European players and everybody. I got to also dump them into the mix, and I haven't looked at them yet to see which ones are there this year, because you don't see those guys, which makes it very hard to talk about them. There might be a couple of guys there. I don't know if there are, okay? And we never know. Because you never know about a guy like the Freak, who comes over, the Greek Freak. None of us knew about him. None of us knew he was going to be that good. You don't know about these guys. You hear about them. Some of them turn out. Some of them don't. So you always got to take that into account. But at 9, you got to have 2 or 3 guys and hope for the best. And, yes, athleticism is something the Knicks need in the worst way. You're absolutely right. James in White Plains. What's up, James?
Hey, Mike. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Miss you dearly.
What's happening?
I got 2 questions as far as sports gambling.
Go ahead.
It's kind of like 2 parts. So, one, how it'll affect it. And I also want to know what percentage of gambling do you think is made up by like the football pools and guys who do the home run pools and all that kind of the side games that are more than just, straight betting games against the spread and over-unders.
Are you talking about illegal betting or what?
Yeah. Like it's illegal now. I'm sure in some form it'll be
illegal wagering is mostly just guys betting, for the most part, on the NFL. That is a lot of it. I'd say if you go with the idea that X bet on the NFL, I'd say the guys who bet on the NFL, half of them wager on other sports, half of them don't, only wager on the NFL. And then you cut it down from there. There's not a lot of hockey wagers. There's not a lot of baseball wagers. All right. And then there's a good number of basketball wagers. There's a lot of wagering on the NCAA tournament. So it depends on the event. But it's still football, and it's college football, but it's really NFL, and then it's college football also. Both are pretty heavy. So it depends on where you want to cut it down from there. But it's still football, and it's still regular wagering. Now, you get people who play those. Like, I really believe there will be a market for wages that are small in nature that also pay off a lot. Parlay cards, pick 10 winners, pick 8 winners, pick this, pick that kind of thing. There'll be a market for that stuff. Casey in High Point. What's up, Casey?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for the call. Happy Friday.
Thank you. What's happening?
I have a DeGrom question from the Yankees, but I agree with you with the technology. We're at Twitter. All those new-to-the-world idea jobs, all those MIT kids are going to make tons of money off of something with the gambling, creating the websites and the computer software. So it's definitely coming, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But with my DeGrom and the Yankees, fictitious, of course, it's so far off. It's not going to happen. But if it did, what's the line in the sand for the Yankees? Is it two right nows and a couple prospects? Like, what's DeGrom worth?
You see, it's not that. They can make a deal on that, and I think they could reasonably make a good deal. I think it's just hard for them to make a deal. I think it's very hard for them, first of all, from a relationship standpoint. Secondly, from the idea if one beats the other in the trade badly, it's very hard to overcome that. They have to deal with it and be reminded of it all the time. If the Yankees give the Mets someone who becomes a big star, if the Mets give the Yankees someone who makes the difference in winning championships, that kind of stuff is very difficult. Kevin in Mineola, what's up, Kevin?
Yeah, hi, Mike. 2 questions, if I could.
Good.
First, Ahmed Rosario. I think has been a big, big disappointment. To me, I mean, he was one they wouldn't give away for any kind of deal, and it's like his bat is just, to me, horrendous, and his fielding is just. I mean, he's a good shortstop. I think he's hurting them. I really do. And
I think you got to give Rosario some time. I think we haven't seen enough of him yet. Now, I don't think you're.
His swing.
I don't think you're looking. I don't think you're looking at a star. Okay, but you might be. Okay. You might be looking at a solid player. Again, you got to give him a chance to play. You got to give him a chance to. Last year I thought you saw some decent things. I think this year he got off to a shaky start. He's been better with the bat of late. I think you got to give him a chance here to play. Let him go through some time. Let him go through some growing pains. I just think I don't think he's a big issue. I think you can leave him alone. I think he can cover his position. I think his offense will get better. Now, again, the guys, a lot of times, the young players, they have a lot of trouble with the strike zone. They have a lot of trouble not being very patient. They don't walk at all. That's a big problem. It obviously impacts their on-base percentage. He's a guy that's not going to walk. That's all there is to it. He's going to swing at everything. He's not going to walk. I think he's walked 4 times in 100 and something, 20 at bats or something like that. Not going to walk, and he's got to learn, because you have to learn what that means to your on-base percentage and what it means overall to not swing at bad pitches. Let me get to this right now, because we got an update on Lagares.